How is everybody doing? 2019 is dwindling away. There is only 11 hours left in the year. And then we're on to 2020. So what better thing to do is make a video, and this final video of 2019 is the discography of Aztec Camera. As everybody knows, or you may not know, Aztec Camera are a Scottish band from East Kilbridge in Glasgow. Roddy Frame was the principal songwriter. Great songwriter, great guitar player. I think totally underrated. And the band changed its lineup over the years. And yeah, one of my favourite bands, one of my favourite artists. Let's check out his catalogue right now. It all started off in 1983 with Highland Hard Rain. This was recorded in August 1982. Great debut. His skill as a rhythm player and a lead player are apparent on this, using a lot of kind of jazzy chords and stuff. The single from this, one of the big singles, was Oblivious. Failed first time round, became a hit the second time round. Walk Out to Winter, it's another great track on this. We Could Send Letters, it's kind of like a Phil Spector song from the 60s. One of my favourites. Side 2, Pillar to Post, Back on Board, a little bit like Al Green, you know. His influences were vast, and he was only 17 or 18 when he released this album, so just a boy really. This was released on Rough Trade in 1983. I bought this in Dublin, Ireland in December 1988. I remember running into the Virgin Megastore in Aston Quay, which is now gone, sadly, and bought this. There was a few singles released on the Postcard record label before this album came out in 1982, and so they're quite collectible. Side A, let's have a look. I love the little logo on the labels, and if you flip it over you get a different one, and the track listing. Yeah, it looks fantastic. So yeah, Highland Hard Rain. If you like kind of indie British music from the 80s, Smiths, Echo and the Bunnymen. I won't say he's like them, but you know, it's in a similar kind of vein. This album is a cracker and definitely worth having. Knife from 1984. Frame signed to Warner Brother Records. This one was produced by none other than Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. Production is a bit slicker. Some great songs in this album. Still on Fire, Just Like the USA, Head is Happy, Backdoor to Heaven. Great tracks. All I Need Is Everything, Backwards and Forwards, really good song. Birth of the True is kind of an acoustic track with nothing, only guitar and vocals. And Knife is a kind of a long, meandering piece, which is about 9 minutes. Yeah, great album. Just Like the USA, there's a guitar solo at the very end of that song, and even though Frame is a great guitar player, I'm sure it's Mark Knopfler. It really sounds like him. His chicken picking style. Inner Sleeve, Roddy with his Gibson gold top semi. I think he still has that guitar. It's the band here. David Ruffy drums, Campbell Owens bass, Malcolm Ross with his Fender Twin and Telecaster. Yeah, great album. I really like this one. Here it continues the theme, the guitar, and the labels, which is very nice. See, there you go. Splendid. And then there was Love in 1987. This is probably Aztec Camera's peak. Yeah, he went to America to record this one. There's a kind of an obi on it, which is kind of cool. You can take that off. Hum in Hour was a big hit. Somewhere in My Heart was a top 10 hit. Working in a Gold Mine, one of his best songs. Deep and Wide and Tall, that was released a couple of times. Aztec Camera were probably, yeah, he was at his peak in 1988. It's really Roddy Frame at this stage. None of the original band are here. A lot of session musicians. This still has a lot of great songs on it. My only criticism now, over 30 years on, would be it's overproduced. So yeah, it's just overproduced. Like a lot of synthesizers. The singles on it are fantastic. More Than a Law is a good song. Produced by Russ Titleman, a Warner Brother producer. Michael Johnson, Robin Mounsey is on this. A lot of programming on the synths and stuff like that. Kill 'Em on Street, a song about Glasgow, great track. A lot of guest musicians. Cream of the crop. But Working in a Gold Mine really is a fantastic Aztec Camera song, and if you've never heard it, you should go and hear it. This particular LP, bizarrely enough, when it came out, I think I bought the CD in 1988. I was going through my CD phase at the time. I didn't buy this vinyl until 1993, and I found it in a record shop. It wasn't sealed, but it was never played, and I don't think I played it. I had it sealed for 9 years. Not sealed, but I actually didn't play it for 9 years after I got it. Crazy. And I played it once and copied it onto CD through the computer. So yeah, this was his peak. And it's still, every song on the album is good, but Deep and Wide and Tall, if you have a listen to it, the bass line is really complicated. It would have been good if it was done in the style of Take Me to the River by Al Green, with a band instead of lots of synthesizers click-clacking along. But still enjoyable, but one that you wouldn't listen to as much. It feels very familiar, but Working in a Gold Mine, it's worth buying it for that track alone. And now it's 1990, and this is Stray, possibly his most varied album. When I say he, I'm just talking about Roddy Frame, because he's the chief songwriter. Again, all session musicians. This is an enjoyable album. I've started listening to it again recently. I remember when it came out in 1990. I bought it June 1990, I think it came out. Bought the CD, played it a lot. I actually saw him as the Camera. I saw them in July 1990 in a small venue in Cork City, and it was one of the best gigs I ever attended. Very minimal cover on this one. Stray, Crying Scene, Get Out of London, Over My Head. That's a very, very sober, jazzy track, very quiet. Good Morning Britain, that's a duet with Mick Jones from The Clash. Song that still rings true today. How It Is, it sounds a bit like Rolling Stones. Gentle Kind, this typical kind of soulful Aztec Camera. Notting Hill Blues, Song for a Friend. Again, it's just acoustic track. This album was produced by Roddy Frame and Eric Calvi. Yeah, I like this one. It's pretty good. Gary Sanctuary is on keyboards, Frank Tonto drums, Paul bass. Additional musicians: Paul Carrick, Edwin Collins, Mickey Gallagher, Steve Sindling. It's a good album, quite enjoyable. It's a silhouette, quite minimal, like I said, the packaging and everything. It's got its own mystery. Hard to believe it's almost 30 years old. WAA black labels on this one. Nothing to write home about. So yeah, that's Stray. Next up is Dreamland. Now before I go any further, I'm just going to say that this is probably one of the worst album covers. I just don't like the artwork. Pretty poor. It's kind of washy. A lot of album covers in the early 90s. You know, it's like not much thought went into them. You know, it's a backdrop of New York, but it just doesn't look great. Other than that, it's a good album, produced by Ruichi Sakamoto, Japanese guy responsible for the Yellow Magic Orchestra, Birds, Safe and Sorrow, Black Lucia, Let Your Love Decide, Spanish Horses. Quite a soulful feel to this again. Dream Sweet Dreams. It's very Motown. Pianos and Clocks, Sister Anne, Vertigo, Valium Summer. That wouldn't be one of my favourites. Very slow and kind of dreamlike. And The Belle of the Ball. Still good songwriting here. The production is a little bit more synthetic. You know, typical early 90s. Kind of trip hoppy drumming, deep bass. Still though, it's a nice album. Yeah, there's no winner. That's why all the credits are written on the back. Pretty generic. WEA. Yeah. So yeah, it's one I wouldn't listen to an awful lot. But yeah, there's some strong songs there. Like I said, there's one or two weak tracks on it, which kind of turned me off the album. But Birds is a great track. That really concludes the vinyl discography, album-wise, because that's where it cuts off. There was nothing else from Aztec Camera released on vinyl after 1993. This one is from 1988. It's a Japanese release. It's not really an album. It's a collection of remixes and B-sides, and it's only about 24-25 minutes long. So I suppose you could call it a mini EP. You know, it's a bit longer than a 12-inch single, and it also plays at 33. There's an Obi strip on it. I only picked this up recently. I had the CD for a long time. The CD was actually the very first mail order CD I bought back in 1990 from a place called Spin CD. I bought it from Record Collector magazine. It's bizarre, you know. I don't even remember what you do. I think you write them a letter and tell them you're interested in whatever. They write back to you, send them a postal order or money draft. They send back the album, it comes in the mail, and it's like, wow, it comes through the door. Yeah, so that's really what happened. Somewhere in My Heart, alternative mix. It's a 12-inch mix. Everybody is a number one. Boston 88 version. It's actually the Boston 86 version. It's a mistake here. Working in a Gold Mine DJ. That's just an edit. It's not the edited sax instrumental version. I threw it all away. That's a Bob Dylan cover live. Down the Dip. That's an Aztec Camera song live. Killamont Street live, and Pillar to Post. They're all from 12-inch singles from the time. But this is nice to have. I picked it up recently. It wasn't that expensive. It's just a nice thing to have. There he is with a Schecter Telecaster. And this is the disc. Generic Warner Brothers. Japan. WEA Warner Electra Asylum. And this is your inner with the lyrics. Yeah, so it's a nice collector's item, there's no doubt about that. But yeah, that's where it really. I just added this to the LP section, just as an extra. I didn't really want to put it. It's not. It's technically, because it was only released in Japan, it's technically not in the vinyl discography as an album. This is Highland Hard Rain on compact disc. This is not an original rough trade. This is a US edition that I bought back in 1992. This one has 3 extra tracks as well, which are Haywire, Orchid Girl and Queen's Tattoos. Those tracks are from the sessions in 1982. This is Sire, Reprise, AAD. I remember that stuff on CDs. ADD, AD and DDD for digital. It was an amazing thing back then. Oh, full digital recording. Sounded glassy and cold. Not much in here really, except the lyrics, and a picture of Stray, LP, cassette and compact disc. Yeah. So yeah, it's nice to have, and very easily obtainable. Knife on compact disc, WEA. I bought this in 1988, so I have it that long. So there we go again. The generic disc with without any colours on it, just black ink. Artwork is different than the LP. Yeah, there's no background ghosting of the image. And this is the Love album. Again, I bought this in 1988. I played the hell out of this disc. I'm amazed it's still in very good condition. There's no scratches or anything on it. It did kind of offer a lifetime of musical enjoyment, didn't it? It did deliver, unless you stamped in it or walked in it. Or, yeah, lyrics in here. Not much else. I remember recording this onto a TDK AMA-X metal cassette. It was a 46, so it fitted on it perfectly, and it was in my Walkman, and the sound quality was great. I played this non-stop. It was in my Walkman all the time, you know, back in 1988. Here we have Stray. I bought this when it came out. Your typical WEA, nothing fancy. The lyrics were written in a kind of a square block, I remember that. Yeah. Very minimal, like I already said. Yeah, it's a good album. Next is Dreamland. I bought this when it came out as well, 1993. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think he's an underrated songwriter. You know, he was kind of dwindling at this stage. Picture of him with Ryuichi Sakamoto. He's underrated. Again, the artwork on this is pretty poor. I'd nearly prefer just blank. You know, a teal colour or something. This with the track listing. It's horrible. You know, reverse negative. Ugh. Frestonia. This is from 1995. This was never released on vinyl, unfortunately. But if you ever see it, as Bob Dylan says, if you see it, say hello. Hopefully they will reissue it at some stage. Maybe Music on Vinyl or some company might do a a cut. I'd like it because it never came out on vinyl at all, which is a pity. It's a good album. It almost sounds live in the studio. This album kind of came into the charts and fell away pretty quickly. Remember, Blur and Oasis were colossal around this time, so people, you know, the attention span on niche artists was going to be quite small. This was the height of Britpop. It's a good album though, and you know, it's a band. You know, there's not a lot of synthesizers on it. I bought it at the time, but it would be nice to have. Be nice to have a vinyl edition. I'd really like that. So there you go. There's not a lot of stuff from around this period. A couple of live B-sides and that's it really. Aztec Camera ceased to exist after this, and his next album was a solo album in 1997 as far as I know. This is just a greatest hits compilation, the best of. Certainly worth grabbing. I've seen this go for €3 or €4. This is kind of essential really. If you have nothing else, double CD, some good tracks here. There's a couple of non-album tracks as well. Paradise is half as nice. I think that was done for Ruby Wax, I think, with Andy Fairweather Low. Yeah, so this is definitely, the Red Flag is a B-side. True Colours, that's a B-side as well. Cyndi Lauper track. Do I Love You? That's a Cole Porter song from Red Hot and Blue, the AIDS charity album from 1990. So yeah, it's definitely worth grabbing this. Jump, that's the cover of the Van Halen track, an acoustic version of it, which was released in 1984. What else is on this? Mattress of Wire, well, yeah, that's just from the first album era. Again, it's not on the album, but it's on copies of Highland Hard Rain. So yeah, this is definitely worth grabbing, and it's got some nice artwork on the discs. Oblivious single. Pictures of the albums in here. A little bit of sleeve notes and all the songs and the years they came out. So this is good. This is definitely worth having in your collection. If you start getting into Aztec Camera, just buy this. It's a good one, and it'll satisfy your need to maybe go and buy some more stuff. Cassettes, remember those? Right, I bought all these just to make this video. So this video should have been made about a month ago, but one of the tapes got lost in the post, and the seller was good enough to send me another copy. The cassettes are very cheap. You'll pick them up for between £1 and £2 or £3. This is Highland Hard Rain. It's an original rough trade. You can see the cassette has got the track listings on it and everything. So you got this, and it's got chrome tape in it. So yeah, I just got a mad notion and said, if I'm going to make the video, I need all the formats. Knife, chrome dioxide cassette, no less. Original WEA glass box. Get the lyrics. Let me get that gold top pick. Yeah, that's quite cool. Love. As you can see here, the artwork is very different from the compact disc and the vinyl, so that it fit into the long format of the cassette. Just for you anoraks out there. a very clean copy. Looks like it's never even been played. The nostalgia is great with cassettes. Stray, this is the one that caused all the problems and all the hold-ups. The seller on eBay was sending it to me and it just went missing. And here it is, just came there today. And it looks in very good condition. All the lyrics are all stuck together here. Very cool. So I was waiting for that so I could make this video. The things I do for you. Dreamland. I guess the CD and the cassette look a bit better, you know, because the vinyl looks terrible because it's this image blown up. So the cassette's not too bad. I mean, it just could be any artist, you know. It just doesn't. There's no style to it, no flair. I hate the way Aztec Camera's written in the middle. It's hard to read Dreamland. They could have come up with something a bit better. Very kind of faded out, washed out looking. It's like he's standing here and he's looking over his own shoulder. There's not much dreamlike about it. And finally, Frestonia. Frestonia were kind of a free-thinking people that lived in some part of London, in their Notting Hill area or something, I can't remember. Back in the 70s, they wanted to have their own rules and regulations. That's what it's named after. This one came from Eastern Europe. Warners. Roddy lurking in the bushes. I also have these beauties. These are the Edsel reissues. These came out a few years back. Demon Music Group. 2012. They released 6 albums in hardback. This one has got Queen's Tattoos, Haywire, Orchid Girl, Set to Killing Free. They were B-sides. Oblivious 12-inch mix. Walk Out to Winter 12-inch. That's good as well. Oblivious extended mix. There's even another version of this with 2 discs with even more stuff on it. I don't have that, but I must try and track it down. It's supposed to have better audio as well. There's some nice stuff in there, you know, the singles and the artwork and some great photos. These get criticised by people. Some people are saying they're not remastered at all. But they're quite cheap and they're nice to have. Knife is discontinued and very hard to get, and it's going to cost a fair bit. I've seen it for €60 now. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I should have bought it when it came out. I don't have Love either because there's a mistake in this too. Working in a gold mine. Sax is actually just the original album version, so I think you write away to Demon and you get the correct one. The sax version is kind of boring, but I hate when they make mistakes like that. I've got Stray as well. Again, there's some extra stuff. It shows you the single sleeves. I have singles as well, and I've got some CD singles and 12-inch singles. I didn't really show them here because I don't have everything. This is quite good. I got it from Germany. It was quite cheap, but The extras are a bit boring. Salvation Through Colours, Consolation Prize. That's live with Edwyn Collins. Do I Love You? That's Red Hot and Blue. Good Morning Britain, 7-inch. Good Morning Britain. Laylo Posse, and then there's like, they're all house mixes. They're quite boring. You know, they're just boring, you know, they're just boring, you know. I keep saying it, I'm boring, you know. Dreamland. This is good because not only do you get the Dreamland album, you also get Live at Ronnie Scott's, which came out over 4 CD singles in 1993. And this is it here with an extra track. So yeah, this is definitely worth getting your hands on. So, and then just like the USA, it's kind of poor quality recording. Plus the original album has If Paradise Is Half As Nice with Andy Fairweather Low. And finally, Frestonia hardback edition. Steve notes and lyrics, and not much came out of this in the line of extras. You get Crying Sing, Black Lucia, We Could Send Letters, Rainy Season, live from the Phoenix Festival, July 1995. There's no studio outtakes, and that's it. So yeah, I need to get Knife and Love in this edition. I actually wrote to Demon recently, asked them about Knife. Are they going to repress it? They said no, it's out of catalogue and they're not going to do it. So let's just bite the bullet and try and get it when it pops up again. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there sitting on it and they know it's worth a bit of money, so that they can pull the wool over Aztec Camera fans' eyes like me. Okay, so that's it. There's not more to say. Everybody, I hope you have a great 2020, and take care. Thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe.